Okay. So when you go to aws.amazon.com, you will enter into this site. When you register, it's 1 month free, so you can do whatever you want in that 1 month. But make sure each time when you play around, you need to terminate all the services you use so that you won't get charged after a month time. Okay. So do you guys remember what exactly web services mean? Right? Web services are the services that we use to communicate between the applications in the internet world. Right? So I strongly believe everybody understood what is a machine, right? So when you order a laptop, it's a machine. What and all you will get with that machine? You will get a physical item, a physical thing that we call it as a laptop, which will have a brand, and then it will have a keyboard, it will have a screen. So apart from that, internally you will get hard disk, RAM, processor, Windows software, and some protocols defined, shutdown startup scripts, everything will be there, right? So you just selected the give me the machine. I want just Dell laptop with this configuration, right? You got the machine with physical thing. What Amazon Web Services does is when you order something like this, it does virtually for you. It does everything whatever I mentioned in your Dell laptop, virtually it does for you. It will create virtual machines for you. It will not only create virtual machines, it's a lot of things. It does a lot of things. Okay, I'll pick couple of pieces in this discussion. So remaining things you keep learning by yourself, like nobody knows everything in this services that it provides. Only few things we know. Okay, so what are the advantages? Why companies choose AWS? Why companies choose AWS in the sense virtual machines, virtual services it will provide, which means nothing but you can call it as cloud-based services. Cloud-based services. There are bunch of companies that provide these services, cloud services. So top among them is AWS, Amazon Web Services. Next is Azure, which is Windows based, and there are some other small competitors, but these are the two competitors which hold like 90%, 95% of the industry. Okay, so and let's say there are 100 companies in the world. As of today, only 5 or 8 companies move to AWS or else cloud-based services. You getting my point? Let's assume there are only 100 companies in the world. Then in that case, only 5 companies or 6 companies has been moved as of today into AWS. So there is 95% companies still want to go or planning to go or will go sometime into cloud-based services. So there is a lot of potential opportunities for jobs around AWS expertise or cloud-based expertise. Okay, nice. So why do a company started moving? Why do they want to? What are the advantages that they will get by moving into these virtual machines instead of keeping their own data centers. Why they are moving to cloud-based services, right? So simple reason is, let's say, for example, let me take some statistics, you will get to know. In a lot of companies started in IT sometime in 90s, right? So in 1990, let's say they bought like some 10 volumes of data, some volumes of machines, cost them around 100K, and by 1995 they got the machines performance, they improvised across the world, so they bought another 20 machines, 20 service, 20 machines, something like that, and they invested another 500K on the to buying those infrastructure and those hardware. By 2000 they got it another improvements company, the hardware industry came back and say, hey, you as of today the performance of the all the hardware is like 1x, so now we improvise it to 10x. So machine companies want to upgrade, right? They want to give the best experience to the customers, so they will go far and then they invest like 1 million, right? So by 2016 they are in, if they are in data centers, so they need to buy another 50 machines and they need to invest 10 million, something like that, right? So when they buy these 50 machines with the highest performance of 10x, like 10x performance, and this one let's say 5x performance, this one is like 1x speed of performance, then once they started migrating into, started using these machines, what is the use of these machines, right? They need to, it's a waste hardware, it's a waste hardware for that company. Let's imagine same thing for the industry that has been there in since 1990, how much hardware is wasted, right? Same thing, right? If you buy a phone in 5 years back, will you able to run the show with that phone? No, right? So same thing happened here as well. So a lot of money has been keep on investing, and next 5 years another thing comes and it will cost too much then. So what certain companies like Amazon and some other small companies before Amazon, and then Google, and then Microsoft, what they thought is like, let's provide a cloud-based services. So if you provide a cloud-based services, what you don't need to start using your own machines. You just need to pay for what you use in the cloud. You guys may know already Google Drive or Dropbox. These are all the cloud-based services, right? Now companies also want to cloud-based services. All the software that they return for their servicing their customers, they don't want to keep it into data centers, they don't want to keep it into data centers, they want to keep it in some cloud-based services, which means, let's say they want one machine to deploy their services, so they buy one machine based on services, like per day basis, like a per year basis, contract basis. I want your hardware, this much of hardware I want, this many services I want, this is the timeline I want, and this is the support I want, and this is the cost they will charge for us, right? So everything is based on cloud based, like based on your requirements they will provide the machines, virtual machines, they will provide the virtual machines back to us. Okay, Not only virtual machines, virtual services, there are bunch of, like, you are storing your data in your local hardware, in your local hardware databases. Now cloud-based services comes back and say, hey, don't store in your cloud data centers, it has a lot of performance issues. So if you store in our data, in our virtual machines, then it will have a good performance impact. Then companies will see that potential and performance is the higher priority for their customers, so they will move to cloud-based services. Okay, so we are saying virtual machines, cloud-based services. So somewhere data should be living. Somewhere we need to keep the data, right? Somewhere real hardware is required, right? So what they are doing is, all the Amazon or all the Google or Microsoft guys, they buy hardware like anything. They data centers. They have a huge data centers. Okay, they will keep these data centers across the world. Okay, that's how they will the confidence of the companies. Like, let's say they will keep one data center. If you guys know, like in Ashburn we have one Amazon data center also there. So very huge volume of data centers, like not even you imagine. Okay, trillion terabytes of data they will, hard disk, hard data, hardware, they will keep it, okay, in a single place. Like that, they will keep it in different places, like they will keep it in. So if you keep it in single place, what will happen is, if something happens, like flood comes into Ashburn, so many companies that they kept their data in Ashburn will get destroyed, right? So they need to have a lot of mechanisms, so they will keep it in different locations. Okay, so that is where, rather than diagram, I'll show it here. So this is the console. Basically, console is something, what and all the services that has been provided through AWS, Amazon, what and all the services provided by Amazon. So how many data centers will be there? See, we have one in Northern Virginia, Ohio, California, Oregon, Central, Ireland, Frankfurt, Singapore, Sydney, Tokyo, Mumbai, South America. These many places they have data centers. Okay, and then, so let's take a piece one. This is one data center in Ashburn. Okay, so when company wants, let's say a company X, Bank of America, BOF, want to migrate into AWS, they will say, I want, they will provide all the requirements to Amazon. They will say, okay, I understand your requirement. Let me provide you this box. You can start using whatever you want to do. You can do it here. And somewhere down the line, capital one comes. They will say, okay. Somewhere down the line, government company says, they will say, oh, for governments, we will create a separate one. So each government sector companies, as many as they come, they'll create a infrastructure here. Okay. This is only in Ashburn. What they will do, based on the company's request, how much backups you want, how much performance you want, and what and all the reliability they want. Let's say a company has customers across the world, then they will say, keep it in 5 to 6 data centers. Keep it in one in Japan, keep it one in Mumbai, keep it one South America, keep it in one America, kind of thing. So those many same kind of instances will be provided across. Okay, so these are all called regions. Okay, these are all called regions. So each region will have all these services. Okay, so what are this is creating one virtual machine. EC2 is creating one particular virtual machine. Okay, so creating an EC2 instance is nothing but asking for one laptop. Simple terms. What does it mean? You are asking for, based on your security groups. Let me open it. I think I uploaded. Okay. See, this is your application, right? In simple way, you wrote the code based on the framework, right? Java, I mean, based on the framework is Spring or something like. You deploy, you use certain technologies like Java or something like. So it becomes you call it as an application, right? What you will do, you will take that application and deploy into one server. Let's say in our case, Tomcat. The Tomcat will be in one of the data centers in regular offices, right? So in order to create an instance, right, a particular instance, when you are asked for create one particular virtual machine, you need to provide a lot of details like this machine access, whom and all we need to create, whom and all we need to provide an access. Okay, and then is there any snapshot is there, and then what and all the public IPs can access, what and all the private IPs can access. Okay, and what are the security groups like HTTPS, HTTP, or else if you want to log in into the box SSH, what ports we need to open. If somebody try to access some XXX port, do I need to provide an access or else do I need to reject? And where it need to be available, whether it does it need to be available only in Virginia, or do you need this instance across Virginia, California, and some other location. Okay, what kind of software you want inside? You want Linux, you want Unix, you want Windows, you want Ubuntu. What kind of software you want me to install? Once you install, what and all the additional softwares you want me to install? Do you want me to install Java? Do you want me to install blah blah blah? Do you want me to install XXX? And does it require database connection? So which port we need to open in order to get connect to the database? Okay, by providing all these details, and what is the size of the system? You want 8 GB system, you want 16 GB laptop, it's something like that. You want 16 GB virtual machine, and how much data you want to store in the database. And once you Windows, let's say Windows you installed, then what and all the additional plugins you want me to install. So these and all the inputs you provide before creating this virtual machine. By taking all these inputs, Amazon Web Service will give you back an instance. Okay, this is your machine, a machine with 8 GB and has a connectivity on HTTP and TCP and has a connectivity to access to the database, and this is running on this port. This is the public IP, this is the private IP. This kind of details it will give it back to you. Okay, this is one of the services that Amazon Web Services provided to you, and important services. This is one of the important foremost service that Amazon Web Services give it to you. Okay, nice. So where is that? You can run as many instances as such like that. So how many instances are running? Two running instances. Two instances are running in my personal laptop. Okay, And then let me go back. These are the services, right? So this is EC2 instance. We'll create it one. I'll show it to you. And then S3. S3 is literally your laptop folders. How do you store the data? Now you store the data. Where is my M2? It is in C users kaizen.m2. These are the folders, right? Okay. And then inside what we'll have, let's say I want to go to GitHub. So what is this image? Okay, so this is baby on board, right? So this image I want to store in cloud, Amazon Web Services. Which service you can use? Which service you can use? S3. Simple storage service or something like S3 instance. 3SS, right? Right? Okay. And then you want to deploy, simply you want to deploy along with the software and deploy your application in a single step rather than creating an instance, going back and deploying your services, all the stuff. You want to deploy your application in a single step. Go for Elastic Beanstalk. This is another service provided by Lambda. Lambda is something you will provide certain logic when something happens based on events. So you don't need to create explicitly server. It will create automatically for you, and this will call it as serverless deployment. Lambda is serverless. Okay, run code without thinking about servers. It will take care. It will take care of based on your. Once you convey this is Java code. This is the method that need to be triggered. Something happens. That's it. It will completely Amazon service responsibility to trigger that. Okay. GitHub we have, right? Like that, if you want to use Amazon services, these are all the different services. Okay. And so storage capacity is one of them. We discussed S3. There are different ways. S3 is nothing but, let me show it to you. See, create a bucket in the sense I'm saying create a, let me go inside. Yeah, resources. Okay, S3, right? Okay, here I'm choosing where I want to create, whether I want to create in Northern Virginia data center of Amazon, or whether I need to create a data center that is there in West Virginia, Oregon. I know I am sitting in Virginia, so I need server. Want to use server that is been there in Virginia. So I'll select this one, and then I can create a folder here. Test, save. So here upload. Okay. I'll say this folder. See 7 KB. This is the file. I'm saying upload. This file is uploaded, right? So now I can define the permissions. Properties. Use the most appropriate storage based on encryption. What is there any encryption logic you want? You want to create any tags for that? You want to create any metadata? And permissions. You want to give permissions to only my email address, or you want to give everyone? Then I'll say I will give you access to everyone. Okay, so save. Just like you know that this thing, right? This is the basic thing like that. You give or provide all the permissions to everyone, right? So then So if I give this URL to everyone, everybody can access this URL, right? So if I say, if I give this URL, everybody can access it. I can go back and redefine, like, if there is any, so I'm going to make public. So it's public now. And then what do you call, see, this is the link. If I provide to someone, they can access. All you need to do, how do you access this? All you need to do is, hello? So all you need to do is, how do you access, how do, yeah, they will call it as buckets. Each folder, let's simply say bucket, okay? See, this is the logic you want. So by downloading Amazon S3 client library, if you add this code, you will get the S3 client, and you can ask for the object. You need to provide the bucket name and key. In our case, in our case, what is the bucket name? Bucket name is Elastic Bean Stack US East -1. This is the bucket stack, bucket name. You can create whatever you want, okay? And then you can provide the ID, e tag or key. You can provide the key or e tag. Yeah, by providing this e tag key, it will fetch the value and return it back as an image back to you. Input stream, this is the your image. By asking like this, you will get the image. That's it. If you want to store an image, same thing. There will be some other library logic will be there. All you need to do is make use of that logic. Okay, so let's see here. See, typical code, they provided the code as well. Public void set Amazon new client, no profile credentials provided, downloading an object, and then you provide the bucket name and key. That's it, you will get the data back. You can keep any data, not only images. You can keep text files, PDF files, you can use doc files, any files, all the static files you can keep it in Amazon S3. So where do you keep all your images of your application? Where do you keep all your statements of your application? Where do you keep all your terms and conditions of your application? You can say in S3 bucket. Amazon S3. Amazon S3 contains a bucket. Inside bucket we'll have folders, and we can upload or we can store image. This is using console. You are using console, you are uploading. You can do the same using your code based logic as well. Using your logic that I showed you, using configuring that logic, you can upload into Amazon. Make sense? Okay. So this is all about S3. Next one is EC2. We'll see, come back. Okay, database. You guys installed Postgres or MySQL, whatever server that you are interested into in your local system, right? Same thing, you can create your own RDS, or else this is DynamoDB is another database, like just like a Postgres. That is, DynamoDB is Amazon its own database that has been developed. Now if you keep, not only if you go to here, that's it, launch a DB instance. Launch is nothing but create a DB. What kind of DB you want? MySQL you want, Postgres you want, Oracle you want, SQL Server, MariaDB. I want what you called Postgres SQL. Okay, select. Okay. So which one? Dev or production? I'll say product test. Okay. Next. Okay. So it will provide all the instances name, just like your where do you want to simple I want. So this is the size of the seam. So T2 micro, sir, T2 or M2 large, T2 micro, T2 small, T2 medium, T2 large. These are the size of the databases. So when you say T2 micro, it will get 1B CPU, 1 GB RAM. If you go for like come on, if you go for R3 or 3.8 large, then it will get 32 CPUs, 32 CPUs and 244 GB RAM. Okay, I'll just select whatever I want, right? So you want multi availability zones. Do you want me to Virginia and as well as California or something like that? So it will ask, you can say what kind of what. So I don't want it. Okay, storage, general purpose or provision some specific data. Okay, storage, allocated storage 1 GB. So it's saying at least 5 to 6 files, so I'll provide 5. They are saying like some suggestions will be there. Let's say I'll say batch Java 2017. I'll create like a Postgres SAD 1 2 3 4 5 ABCD 1 2 3 4 5. So database name, I'll say Java. Backup, how many days you want backup if something goes wrong, how often I need to take. I'll say I don't want. Okay, enabling enhancing monitoring blah blah blah. Okay, auto minor version upgrade. Okay, launch DB. That's it. Where it is creating this DB? In Northern Virginia data center, wherever it is your BDB is, your DB instance is being created. See, with the DB instance now, if I creating, its status is still creating. Once it creates, it will show success. Then what I can do, I will go to my code and directly hit the data which is there here instead of storing into my local. Whatever the cricket app that you are going to do, you can connect it. All you need to do is you need to open the instance actions. There will be something will be there access. As of now, instance actions, no, it's creating, right? So it takes some time. Yes. It's still creating. So here you will get all the details of the server. Publicly accessible, yes, and it is still creating. So once it created, what happens? So if somebody says, did you ever create a database? Yes, I created. What is the same? When you download a Postgres in your system, you'll provide next, 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 right? Same shit here. But this is more sophisticated, like, you don't need to worry about how much memory is there, how it is going to maintain all this stuff. That is something cloud service providers responsibility. In this case is Amazon. It takes some time. Okay, let's come back later. Okay, let's see last one. Okay, And so next one is networking. VPC, Direct Connect, Route 53, all these things. I'll explain what it these things. Migration. You just don't need SQS. This is something I'll explain when we go to discussion. Okay, remaining all services, you just look at it, what it does, kind of thing, you can understand. Mainly EC2, S3, RDS, and Route 53, ELB. So these are all important. So I will show you today, because we won't, the main goal is lot of EC2 instances will be created on your day-to-day development. So when you want to deploy a service, you will create an instance and then you deploy your application into that EC2 instance, that virtual machine where you will have a Tomcat, Java 8, everything. So your application will run and start working. So you can access data directly from the cloud instead of running that application in your data center. Okay. So we're discussing is, yeah, so what and all we need to do when you know to create EC2. I'll just show a high level, but there is a bunch of things you need to do. Okay, what and all you need to do. So let's go back. Another service, EC2 instance service, creating EC2 instance. So launch an instance, and it will ask you what kind of server that you are looking for. Linux, Red Hat, Ubuntu, Microsoft, database, Microsoft Word, Windows. So see how many servers, Microsoft SQL, Amazon Linux, Ubuntu servers. So I'll just select, I want to go with simple Linux. Okay. So AMI is Amazon Machine Image. Amazon Machine Image. That is like, this one, when I'm selecting what it is mean, this Amazon machine, this Amazon Linux AMI has been created this date, and it will give these and all the supports. Okay, so I'll select this date. I want a virtual machine with Linux, and I'm saying give me the smaller one, T2 micro. Okay, so now T2 micro is one CPU, one memory, and instance storage. Elastic something will be there, BS instance, I don't remember. Network performance. So if you select this one, the performance will be low to moderate, but if you select higher performance ones, then you need to go for M4 large, which will cost more for you, because it will provide more CPUs, more memory, right? So more CPUs, more memory means more money. So by default, I'm going with the default one, and then next, configure instances. Number of instances I want. Okay, which means you want more virtual machines need to be created with this Linux server, or you want only one. So I'm going to say only one for now. If you want, you can create more. Okay, and here is the selections. These and all the inputs you need to provide in order to create this virtual machine. Okay, so create a VPC. VPC is virtual private cloud. Virtual private cloud. What does it mean is, so let's say this is the data center that has been there in Virginia, right? So when you are creating default virtual private cloud, so they will give you one virtual private cloud. This section only certain people will be accessed to. Whoever having access to this VPC, let's say X VPC, then only X allowed users only can access. So let's say you have an Amazon service, you created your own application there, and I also created my own application. Okay, so if I try this, if let's assume this is your application, if I try to access this, you don't get. You need to be an user registered with this VPC. Until and unless it is not public to everyone, you need to be registered with this VPC, and then only you will get an access to access anything inside that virtual private cloud. Inside virtual private cloud, what will be there? Your virtual machines, databases, security groups, everything will be there. Okay, so this is the virtual private cloud. Okay, VPC they will call. That is the higher level. When you join into any when once you get a job, when you go when they are doing any Amazon related stuff, then when they say VPC, you need to imagine everything will be there in that VPC. Okay, then you need to select where you want, like subnet. What is the subnet you want? What are the IP addresses? Do you have any preferences that you have? And IAM role. What is IAM role? Identity access management. In the sense, you need to have an access in order to create a new role. Let me say I'll create a new role called Java batch 27. Okay, and then next I'll say this whenever I give a role, let me show you. So there is nothing, this is more of a hardware related stuff, but it's good to learn. Okay, nothing to do with what the way you wrote the Java. The Java that works in your system will work here as well in AWS cloud as well. Okay, so what we take is, yeah, so IAM. People will ask, do you know IAM? Did you ever created IAM? Identity access management, which means, so these are all cloud services provided. A service, let's say EC2, S3, RDS, SNS, SQS, I showed you in the console, right? All those services, right? So I'm just simple for the sake of um, easy understanding, I'm saying ABCD services. Okay, 4 services has been there in AWS. Okay, so when you are creating a particular role, let's say I will say Java B role. I'll create a role called Java B. Okay, and then for this role I'll provide access to A service, I provide access to B service. Okay, and I'll create say .NET B role. Okay, something like that. I'll create with this role access to this guy, access to this guy. Okay, nice. So next one is, let's say you came as an user. Okay, you are a Java. I'll say I will assign you this Java role. So if you try to access .NET stuff, you don't get access. Only you will get A service and B service. If you try to access, you don't see C and D services for you. You don't get an access to C and D. You will get an access to A and B only. But if somebody comes with .NET, they will get access to, I'll provide an access to .NET B role. So they will get access to D and C. Okay, that's it. Nothing much. Only in fancy terms, fancy terminology will be there. So I will say for this role that I am creating, this is the permission. So I'll say Amazon EC2 full access or else administration access, blah 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 blah. So I'll say Amazon access. Okay, okay, then edit role. No, same, I'm good. I'll create a role. I'll say Java so this is AWS select services role, and then cross account access role for identity provide access. So this in this AWS select services role, either you need to provide access to everything or all services. If you select this dot, all the services that has been there. or else if you want to create only specific thing, you can select only specific thing. Okay, so I'll say I want to give full access, and then I'll create. So this role has been created. So Java role has been created just for EC2 instances. If you try to access with this role, try to access any of the RDS, then you won't get an access. Okay, okay, nice. So here if I refresh, I'll see Java. What are we doing? We are creating a box. We are providing all these inputs in order to create this virtual machine. Shutdown behavior, stop, protect text, blah blah blah. These are all the real-time things. We don't care, right? And then it says add storage. Storage 8 GB. This is the folder location. Root, general purpose. Delete on termination. Okay. Next, tags. You can provide, if you want to search with these tags, right? You can in order to. So I'll say Java training. Add another tag like owner, something, whatever you want, right? Well, Java 2017 at gmail.com. So if somebody looks at this instance, who owns this instance, then you can see it. Okay. Next, configuration, security groups. You need to provide the security groups. So by default, you want to the security groups, you need to select. Okay. So I'm going to say I'll say launch wizard blah blah blah. So I want SSH security group, and what and all the rules. I want to have HTTP, so 80 access will be there, and I want HTTPS access will be there, anywhere. I'll say anywhere somebody can access this instance. Okay, and what and all the additional security rules that you want, you can select. Okay, I don't want this. If you want to database access, you need to select. So then you will get an access, the port will be opened. Okay. Then review and launch. So it is saying provide more security so that it will be created. I am good. So it will say when you are launching, okay, so what is the key that you want to use to access? I'll say create a new pair. So I'll say Java 2017. I'll say whatever I want, name, that's it, Java 2017 batch, and then I'll say download. So this is the key I will use in order to log in into this box from my actual real box. From my actual box, I will use Java batch 2017 to log in into this server, this virtual machine. Launch instance. That's it. The following instances has been initiated. So if you go here, EC2 dashboard. Yeah. See, these are all the earlier ones that I created, but the first one, right? You see status is initializing. As soon as you see running and 2 by 2 checks, then that is ready. Okay. So Java training, the instance name is Java training. This is the ID. Okay. And the size of the system. It is still initializing. By the time we'll see remaining details. Here if you look at, right, I selected this one, I got these details. If I select this one, I get these details. Okay, so Java training, what and all we have here. If you look at, this is the public IP address you got. So by using this public IP address, you can log in into this server. This is Linux server. Okay, keep in mind. And then this is private IP address. This is the security group. These are the AMI roles. Okay, AMI role is Java. If somebody comes with Java, I can provide this role so they can access this system. And this is the owner ID. When they launched, all the details will be there. Okay, if you look at here, and status checks, monitoring. If you have created any tags, it will be here, available here. So Java training, Bell info, Java, all these things. So as and when this one is ready, it's taking a hell lot of time. Let me see if database is created. And then we'll come back here. Available. So this is the endpoint. This is the endpoint that you need to provide in your code base. In your damn it, I didn't open. And then that's it. This is the URL, database URL that you need to provide in your, it was public access. That's it. It will connect to this database. Okay, make sense? Are you guys with me? And you can actually security groups here, you can see. There will be there. I want to show you the logs. Where the heck it will be there? You can see what tables, what instance has been there from here itself. Let me see if I can access this guy. Localhost host 5432 Postgres, that's it, right? Host. AWS server. Come on, Ray. Actually, only what we have an issue with the version, I guess. So it's okay. So see, we created Java. Java database we created, right? If you guys remember, this is the server name and this is the public IP address. So now from your local system, just providing, you can, if you run your any of the running programs, you can start writing the database. You can start writing your code into, instead of your local system, you can write into AWS server. Make sense? Are you guys with me? Okay. Next one is, so how can we connect from here? This is the client. PG admin is a tool, like just like Eclipse. Eclipse for Java code. PG admin is for accessing data that has been there in the database. It's just a client, not the server. PG admin is not the server. Okay. Server is sitting in the AWS for us. So we connected to that server here. Okay. Don't get confused. Okay. Next one is, yeah, EC2 instances, right? Let's see whether it is created or not. Yeah, let me see here. Yep, it's running, right? So I want to log in into this system. This is a Linux system, right? How do you want to access? Let me try. Command prompt, right? Okay. I downloaded a file, right? PEM file. Accessing AWS EC2. EC2 instance from, you can just put it from command. Let me see if that guy says there is an option, otherwise I'll done. I tried it in Mac, so just trying to see. Yeah, so this tutorial details help you to set up the development environment in EC2 instance using AWS. Includes short version of installation configuration instructions, and it can run start, finish on Windows, Linux for a completion of installation configuration getting us. I'm just downloading that. I never tried from Windows, so I just want to make sure. Run the downloaded MSI installer. Follow the instructions that appear. What we're trying to do? We're trying to access one of the box that we created, virtual machine that we created, trying to through cloud services, AWS cloud services. From you're trying to connect to the box, log in into that box using the PEM file that we downloaded. I don't know how much time it will take. So next topic is, let's see, in the parallel I can cover. Security groups, so load balancers. Let me see if I can finish this. That is what I'm asking. I reached third slide. The remaining slides I'll cover it tomorrow if I succeed in this piece. So it is saying this is putty is one way of connecting to that. CLI doesn't work for me. I don't have energy to research on that now, so I'll just run. Okay, I'll go to putty gen. This generate the ID of the instance. You can get the ID using get the public DNS name, get the ID. You can get the public DNS of your instance. There are two ways actually, but putty I'll show you. So this is the host number we need to give. Okay, I'm trying to connect, so using putty. So what is the instance ID? It is saying host, right? So I'll get the public IP. I selected this guy, and what is the public? Let's see if I using this guy whether I can able to access. Okay, and SSH. Okay, and then I'll say AWS instance. Okay, save, and then SSH. Private key. I need to browse. I downloaded into here. Where is that guy? Java batch 2017, right? Okay. PPK file we want. Damn it! I want to convert that PM file into PPK file. This Windows sucks. Downloads only. Downloads only. One last. If it doesn't show it up, I'll take this. I think it doesn't like PPK file. Let me try. Yeah, unable to use the key, whatever the key that it's a PEM file, but we need to convert into PPK file. So yeah, I'll see if I can figure it out tomorrow, and we'll discuss remaining things. So but try to understand what I'm trying to do. All I want to show is real time. I can just simply go through all the concepts, but I just want to give you some confidence. When you go and see this page, right, you should have some sense what exactly happening. Okay, so tomorrow I'll cover like how do we create an ELBs and what is the relation between ELB and EC2, how do you configure auto scaling groups, and how this infrastructure will be tied up with Route 53, and how this complete stack will be kept in east stack and west stack kind of thing, and how the traffic coming into your application will be routed differently. Okay, thank you guys.